in the question of love versus money, this idea of security, right? And I think that both love and money can provide security, but slightly different types of safety in someone's like nervous system, right? And I think you need both to kind of calm that nervous system, but also based on, early childhood, family of origin, belief system, all of this good stuff. Love and finances can both trigger different aspects of lack of safety or desiring a certain metric or bar to be met to feel safe. For someone, I think they said Lucy makes $80,000 a year, which one isn't much. Even
not in
living,
New York City.
I'm like in Dallas, that's like not a lot, I'll tell you right now. And then in New York City, that's not much. But maybe that's all someone would need to feel financially secure, but they have a different level of what emotional security looks like for them. And I think that that question of what does love mean, this question, the movie also questions what does security mean and what does someone look for to feel secure in an attachment, right? And how much is money a part of that? And to me, I agree with what you said about how it's both. You do need both. And again, not only was one of my problems with the movie that singleness was not an option, but also that it was such a false dichotomy, in my opinion, that it's either love or money. And I'm like, hang on now. Like, we can't have both. That does exist. And also, most people need and want both. What that looks like can be very different. Someone's idea of financial security may be $50,000 a year and the love of their life, and that is great. Someone else's idea of security may be minimum $120,000 a year and someone they love and are comfortable with, so there's some flexibility in there. I think the other thing that you said that I find really interesting is about the tasks that anyone in a relationship wants, someone to do their tasks, I'll do my tasks, and we help make each other's tasks easier. I think that's really beautiful and absolutely what I look for in a partnership and even friendships, right? Like any sort of connection. I think that's absolutely what, well, obviously I'm biased because I think that's what I look for, but a well-adjusted person would desire. But I think one thing that is true in a lot of relationships is that we don't really realize the tasks that are offloaded when you do get into a relationship. For instance, like driving can absolutely become a task that one party in a relationship then takes on. Cooking, cleaning, these traditional housewifely duties often are discussed, but also in a traditional gender roles kind of split. Oftentimes men take on the task of financial management of the household, right? Of lawn care, of all sorts of things if we're splitting down the party lines, so to speak. And I think as much as it is nice to say, I have my tasks, you have your tasks, when you join in a partnership, you do inherently now have to take care of the other person in some way. And the difficulty with finances being added into that is I am taking care of you in some sense. And if I am the breadwinner, that is a dynamic now that we have. That is a power dynamic that is going to shift the way tasks look. And so you do have to weigh that, right? And a lot of men aren't comfortable not being the breadwinner, aren't comfortable doing tasks that they perceive as housely, womanly, nurturing tasks. But also some are, and it's great. And when you're in a partnership, like you said, how do we make each other's tasks easier should be the goal. But there's just so much that goes into that. And I think a piece that I also want to emphasize is that marriage is also a financial and legal decision.
It's a corporation. I agree. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, I don't, they didn't really talk about debt much, and I don't know how much poor John has, but if you're legally married to someone, you also take on their debt, and that's a real consideration. Like,